The Jordan episode,
Hey,
episode 23.
23, 2, 3 out
Yes,
here.
sir.
Back,
COD podcast
back again.
back in effect, back again. Yes, sir. Your hosts, Paul and Ryan.
Yeah, it's Ryan and Paul, episode
We
23.
here to get to the shits.
That's
We
right.
are ready. We got a bunch of topics. So let's hop right into it. Where you want to start?
Man, let's start to the one that's on everybody's mind, with all these shutdowns and stuff. Let's talk about the virus and vaccine. Let's talk about
Okay.
Pfizer
Okay.
and BioNTech, right?
Yes, sir. Pfizer BioNTech. That is the first vaccine that is, I guess, available or being sent out. Obviously, we know that Moderna has one as well. I think there's another company out there as well. So there should be some competitors or variations on the block soon enough. But Pfizer is the first one that is available. What do you think? What have
Uh,
you heard about it?
So, 90-year-old woman actually in England was the first one to take the Pfizer vaccine. She hasn't had any adverse effects.
No.
And actually, 2 days ago, the FDA just cleared Pfizer and BioNTech for the emergency distribution of their vaccine in the United
Mm-hmm.
States.
Yeah.
I was just kind of reading through some of the information, and if you guys haven't checked it out yet, some of the side effects it said is nausea, redness around the shot area, chills, the basic.
The
And to be honest,
normal. The
yeah,
normal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you read any medicine, it pretty much says that same thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Now, one of these side effects that I guess caused caution was that some people had, a minute amount, a very small amount, had some severe allergic reactions that made in the UK, and it made doctors kind of say that this vaccine shouldn't be taken by anybody with severe allergies. So basically, if you have to walk around with an EpiPen, you shouldn't be taking this vaccine.
right,
But most of us don't have that, so everything should still be good, and that's not uncommon from other vaccines. If
right,
you're severely allergic and you're at that spot where you have to carry around an EpiPen, you should be taking precaution, regardless of what vaccine that you're taking. A flu shot or this shot, it's going to be the same thing. I guess there was another story that had caused some caution in some people, but it was 4 people who were active in the trials. So before the vaccine got sent out to the public, 4 people had developed Bell's palsy.
yeah,
Now, a few people were like, what is this? The doctors and the FDA had both said that it most likely was not caused by the vaccine. In 2001, somebody had developed Bell's palsy from a flu shot. But I guess when you read up on Bell's palsy, the cause is still not really known. It just kind of develops in people. So one of those things is like, can you actually say that this vaccine did this to these people? The doctors right now are saying no. At first, the article that had dropped had said that they just had it. Now I'm reading that it was temporary.
mm,
So, that's 4 out of what, 20,000 or so people who have
trial.
taken it.
Yeah,
And that was in the trials as well. So, just a few stories out there that have been kind of adding to the public skepticism, but the doctors are letting you know that this is normal with every vaccine. Even the Bell's palsy thing really shouldn't deter anybody from seeking out this vaccine, just because it's not the norm, it's an exception, and you know we can't attribute it to the vaccine. And also for Bell's palsy itself, it's right now we don't know, in general, vaccine or not, people who have that, we don't even know how it comes about. So it's one of
right.
those things where these people might have developed it with or without the vaccine, so you can't say that. So
And right now in today's world in 2020, disinformation is so rampant.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
just so much,
Because the
wrong.
first place I saw that was at the Daily Mail,
Right,
and
right,
I'm pretty
right,
sure everyone is like the Daily Mail, all right,
right.
you know.
Exactly.
So
What was your source, guy? You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Now they did have real quotes from the FDA, but the way that they write the article, how they present the article, it's a clickbait thing,
exactly,
So
exactly.
you gotta definitely verify your sources and verify where you're getting your news from.
So here at the COD, we encourage everybody to look it up and read it for themselves. The FDA has
Yes,
information
sir.
out on it. Pfizer has information out on it. It's all open to the public, even us.
Hmm.
I mean, we're a source of news, I guess. You know what I mean, so to speak.
Exactly.
So it's like, but man, different. Like I said, disinformation is rampant out here. Make sure you do your own research. Make sure you do your
Hmm.
own research. I'm
How do
excited.
you think this? Oh yeah, definitely. I was just gonna ask, how do you think this vaccine is going to help us? Get back to a quote unquote normal, or a pre-COVID world. Do you think the vaccine could help us get back there, or do you think the vaccine could not only help us get back to a normal way of life, but help, I guess, boost the economy, help improve the economy, help
Yeah, I was about to
businesses
say that.
open back up?
That kind of touches on that subject. We want to talk about is the economy, right? The state of the economy. I feel like
Yep.
that first and foremost, coronavirus has changed everything. Like if you don't realize
Everything.
that by now, like coronavirus has changed everything. That job that
Mm-hmm.
might have laid you off, that job that might have been there previously, might not be there right now, and that's
Yeah.
because people are working more remotely or companies have found other ways to get around needing those types of positions, right? So you got to reinvent yourself. I think
Mm-hmm.
that this whole thing has been obviously a curse, but it's been a gift somewhat just because um, people it kind of forces people to step outside their comfort zone and step outside their little bubble and actually see what's happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Adapt to the change and man, be a little bit more cautious. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've gone to bars and restaurants and you see somebody walk out without washing their hands. You
Oh
know,
yeah, it's nasty.
yeah, it's nasty, but it
It was
happens.
nasty before, but now it's like even worse. It's
Yeah,
like, come on.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Right now, it's like taboo,
Yeah.
like somebody almost stop you and say something, like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing? Um,
Exactly.
but it's one of those things, man. I feel like that us having the vaccine, even though it'll be distributed probably yearly now, is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
I'm hearing that this thing can mutate like the flu. So if they're distributing yearly, that's not going to take away from us being that much more cautious moving forward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's how it changed it. And the economy, I mean, things are going to be different, man. A lot of services are going to be hands off. A lot of services they're gonna try to they might try to you know use more technology versus people, right?
Well, of course, we was
Um,
going in that direction.
yeah,
Andrew Yang used that as a big selling point to his campaign, automation and how we can adapt to that. So, that's definitely something that everyone should start looking into now, just how to adapt to the ever evolving world, how to stay current, stay fresh, not get left behind.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and one thing about the economy that I wanted to bring up was that I was watching this one cook on YouTube, and he has a few restaurants in San Diego, and he was kind of upset at the governor placing a ban. A lot of states with the recent spike have been putting bans back on indoor dining, and already, I guess, people like me, I've just stayed away. I've strayed away from indoor dining at all. Like I haven't dined inside for this whole year, but that hasn't stopped me from takeout. So I look at everyone and I'm like, what's the problem? Like, get takeout. But for a lot of these businesses, takeout might not be all that they need to stay afloat. So they have the outdoor dining. Now that it's getting cold, that kind of seems like that opportunity is running away from them. So what you've seen, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've definitely seen it, is some of these businesses have kind of either put up tents or bubbles. So it's a little funny to me, it's like this is 2020, but what's the difference from sitting in a bubble outside to just sitting inside?
No
You know, you're
difference, man.
you're
No difference.
inside. So I understand why some of these businesses are kind of frantic, but you can't just build another business right outside of your business and act like it's outside. So it's one of those things where some of these, some businesses have to get creative to stay afloat
Exactly.
because it's just not going to work. You can't fight science. That's what I hope a lot of people also learn. You can't fight science. So,
Yeah, I feel like I 100% agree with you. Let me rewind. I
you
100,
know,
100% agree with you. I
I'm
feel
not
like
against the
uh,
restaurants, but it's like, come on.
it's like
You,
some of these
you, you
places you see them, they got their restaurant, their brick and mortar, and then next to
mhm.
it, it's like this, tent house, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
With a heater in it and a big,
Hmm.
and a projector, and you still got, 100 people in there. I mean,
Exactly.
to be honest with you, man, I don't know how any of this is helping us at this point. I feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, because you got states like Colorado, you got states like Cali, you got states like Virginia, Washington, whatever,
Hmm.
um, who are locking down, who are doing the social distancing, who are doing all of this. But then you got states like Georgia, you got states like Florida, you got states that are just like Texas that
They've never shut down.
they're open, bro.
Wow.
Like they're open. So it's kind of
Hmm.
it's kind of you know perception right now. It's like who's right and who's wrong. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're not even thinking about what we're talking about right now because they feel
Hmm.
like, hey, if you're gonna catch it, you're gonna catch it, or they feel like, hey, our numbers
Exactly.
haven't moved, um, haven't moved since the beginning of this thing, which we know to be false. I saw the
Hmm.
numbers coming in from Thanksgiving. They were talking about the Thanksgiving surge of the virus, um,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's who's right and who's wrong, right? You just got to protect yourself at this point, honestly.
yeah.
And I think that's why the vaccine is so important, especially to the U.S. I just read an article. I saw something that and I think it might have been even a month old, man, saying New Zealand's fully back open right now. Said that they have
Okay.
zero cases
But
because
you see, they locked down. They
they locked
followed
down.
protocol.
They
Yeah.
locked down at the beginning, and we talked about this
Hmm.
off air, right? They locked down
Yep.
for a hard 3 weeks. At the beginning, the
Hmm.
government covered everybody's costs, and now they fully back up and operational.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying, man.
It's no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, whose ideology is right?
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, you know, lucky for us, land of the free, home of the brave. It's a
You feel
double-edged
me?
sword. Nobody wants to be told what to do. So we're gonna have to find out the hard way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
be hard-headed in America, man. We'll learn
Hey,
at
man,
one
we
point.
country of rebels, right? The revolution.
It's one of those things where when next year hits and that transition happens and Biden takes office, he's already said that he's placing Fauci back into a position of an advisory position for him. So while the previous administration with Trump had sought to kind of discredit and kind of, I guess, quiet Fauci, Biden's taking an initiative to say, you know, we're going to follow the scientists, we're going to follow the doctors, and hopefully the rest of America can follow the lead and order takeout instead of try to sit inside restaurants. Maybe stay in the house a little bit more than you've been doing. Hopefully wear your mask, keep using hand sanitizer. I mean,
Wear your
everything that we should have
mask.
been doing for this whole year. Like it's just hopefully we all follow. And the good thing is that there are vaccines out there. Pfizer's already available. Moderna's on the way.
Hmm.
A few other companies. So you're gonna have options, and hopefully everybody gets the vaccine, and we can start to move forward.
Yeah, protect yourself. And on that note, since we brought up the economy, reinvent yourself. I know a lot of people
Yep.
are out of work right now, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are trying to find something to do. Even though some industries are dying, some industries probably won't come back. And I feel bad for the mom and pops, especially right, the small businesses.
Oh yeah.
There are companies out here that are doing well. I looked at the
Mm-hmm.
numbers for Cyber Monday. They made $10 billion in online sales. Big
Yep.
companies, right?
Yep.
So some companies are out of business. Other companies are making a mint right now. Amazon, come on now.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
have to talk
I
about
just
Amazon.
ordered. I just ordered from Amazon. Christmas shopping. I'm not going in any stores. So
Right, exactly.
Prime is going to be pulling up to the door like 10 times a day in this next few weeks. So
Hey, and low key, the post office, they posted something up in my building about their hiring. So I'm
okay.
like,
Okay.
so obviously somebody made a mistake in trying to downsize the post office, but
Mm-hmm.
it
Back
is
at
what
it,
yeah,
and they pay well. They pay well. Got good
yeah,
benefits.
they hiring. So it's
Hey, don't be mad. UPS is hiring.
hey, they hiring, man.
Yes, sir. Now, speaking on COVID, we got to say rest in peace to Debo,
Yeah,
aka Tiny Lister.
tiny
If
listen.
you didn't know who Tiny Lister was, he did play the iconic Debo role, the bully in Friday. Um, he had caught COVID earlier this year. He had recently just passed, and while he had recovered from COVID, um, what they are saying in they haven't named a specific cause of death just yet, but all the symptoms that they said he was experiencing before he passed are like COVID related, so shortness of breath, fever, nausea, tiredness, all of that. So right now people think that he had caught COVID again and didn't win that battle, but rest in peace to Debo, Tiny Lister. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, man. Iconic, iconic. If you haven't watched Friday, watch the Friday. Shoot, I want to say trilogy, but it's really a sequel, though, right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
couple of Fridays out featuring Ice Cube and other comedians, Mike Epps, and of course Chris Tucker. But
Yeah.
man, I grew up on that, man. Debo,
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
come on,
Come
man.
on. You got knocked out.
You know what I'm saying? One time for the
Everybody
coach.
knows that scene. Everybody knows that scene, man.
Yeah. Shout out to
And I think he was a wrestler as well. I think he was a wrestler as well. So,
yeah.
he had an illustrious career. I know Friday was the thing that really solidified him in the culture. But
Mm-hmm.
rest in peace, man.
Hey, and shout out on that note too. Talking about the culture. Shout out to our last two episodes, Yose and man,
Oh yes, sir.
Loaded
Loaded
clips.
clips.
You know,
Yes, sir. Two
um,
homies that I've come to know being involved in uh, Joe Budden podcast focused discords. Yosei being a young R&B talent in Algeria in North Africa. Loaded Clips being a content creator for the Joe Budden podcast. He compiles clips. He also has his own analysis with Pod Center and Honest Conversations. Check out his latest Honest Conversations episode that had just dropped yesterday. I think he also had a new compilation compilation video that had just dropped yesterday, but both were great interviews. I learned a lot. Um, it's amazing who you meet with just having similar interests. Who would
mhm.
have ever thought that me listening to somebody else's podcast, Joe Budden's podcast, could you know put me in the vicinity of other talents, other creatives, and not only that, but now obviously we speak about things outside of the pod. Getting
Exactly.
interested in Yosei's career, seeing, learning that Loaded Clips has a computer science degree, and a young child. He's married. They got lives outside of the pod. So it's
Right.
cool to see. It's cool to see sometimes where life takes you just with your interests and whatnot. So
Yeah,
definitely
and how
shout out to both of them.
Yeah, and how careers and man, opportunities can develop organically just by being involved in networking. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
mean, look,
sir.
look at us. We started this thing. I mean, neither one of us, was into really
Well, yeah.
podcasting.
Exactly.
We just
Exactly.
started doing it. So it's just, it
Hmm.
just kind of developed organically, and we kept rolling with it because we like doing it. We generally like doing it.
Exactly. And all the
Uh,
people that we've met along the way,
exactly.
shout out to everybody we've had on the podcast. It's from all walks of life so far. And I'm interested to see who we, talk to in the future. So, it's
Absolutely.
definitely, a blessing that, just like you said, just organic, just who knew this would, blossom out of just playing Fortnite. Hop on the sticks.
Shout out to Fortnite too. Shout out
Yes,
to
sir. Yes,
Fortnite.
sir.
Yeah, if you really think about it, bro, man, he introduced us to some stuff and introduced you to some stuff. We were talking about Clubhouse, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
brought
yeah,
up,
yeah.
and that was one of the subjects that you wanted to touch on, something
Yeah,
happened with
man.
academics.
So yes, sir. Yesterday on Clubhouse. So if you don't know, we spoke about this new app during the loaded episode, but it's this voice chat only. So there's no text, there's no pictures. It's just, voice chats. You open up rooms with a topic, and depending on if it's open or closed, the public can join. Right now, it's invite only, so it's a 6 degrees of separation type of thing. The majority of people on there right now seem to have come from the entertainment industry. And yesterday, academics, hip hop reporter, some call him a slime ball, but
Sheesh.
academics had
Talk about it.
no hate to academics. I'm just letting you know he's a polarizing figure. But academics, he had joined the app, and anytime somebody joins the app, a welcome room opens up. So apparently he had joined this welcome room. It blew up. He was talking to people. Mace had joined, and I went to see what's going on. His co-host from Everyday Struggle, Nadeska and Wayne, were in there. Everyone was just kicking it. They were having fun. He was talking about his career. He was talking about what he thinks of the app. People started making jokes. They were like, let's bring people up to the stage so they can roast academics. It was all in good fun. As I start scrolling the app, I see another room by started by DJ L and a few other Chicago heavy hitters.
Mhm.
DJ L, if you don't know, was one of the founders of the drill sound that we know today. The Chicago drill sound. So he started off, producing for King Louis, Chief Keef, um, Lil Durk. So all of the pioneers of the Chicago drill sound. But he was in this room that was like academics built his career off the deaths of Chicago rappers. Um, if you don't understand that reference, when academics was first making a name for himself before he had a face, he was just this anonymous guy who would give his commentary on hip hop. And when drill was blowing up and a lot of people were interested and wanted to know what was going on in Chicago, because the music was so raw and so real, that it kind of went past the music. So, if you're familiar with drill music, a lot of people were speaking on neighborhood beefs, personal beefs, um, very in a very raw way. So, a lot of people would drop names. They wouldn't be subliminal. They would drop names. They say what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, how they're going to find people. So, that to the outside world is very intriguing. And then when you figure out that it's real, it's not just, studio gangsters, or it's not just you're rapping about a distant past. These people are rapping about what's going on right this minute. Um, naturally people get entrenched and they want to know what's going on. So here comes academics. He's reporting on it. He's breaking down songs. He's letting you know who got who's an enemy of who. And the way that he reports it rubbed people the wrong way, because he didn't just report it. He reported it with what he calls satire. So he would call somebody like Little Reese Chicago's Grim Reaper, or he would call people demons, and he would call, he would just, I think one time he even said something about someone ran up the scorecard, after, such and such had, you know, killed such and such, so he was one of these people who was speaking
Just
on it like
feeling
if
it.
it was, he was speaking on it as if it was a NFL game or something, like, oh, someone got this, and you remember in this song he said this. So, these people were putting out their own content, and this is their own life that is actually going on. But just like a school fight, if you have somebody standing to the side and being like, you gonna let him say that? You gonna let him say that about you? It's kind of like he's an instigator.
Right.
Whereas some comments or some songs might just be put out there and forgotten. Academics is the one who's reporting on it and making sure that everybody knows who's saying what about who. So, over the years, the big criticism on Ack is that he fueled a lot of these uh, Chicago murders. While it was already a tense situation in Chicago, that style of reporting just fueled it because people wanted their name in his videos. They thought that they were going to get clout. But anyway, that's what he was talking about. I entered that room. They were very upset in that room. Now they were all talking about going to Ack's room to speak to him live and direct as you can on that app. And they were all like, you know what, let's calm down here. We don't want to, bark at the man. We just want to speak to him and see if we can change him, see if there's growth to be had here. So, you know, with all that said, DJ L, DJ Oreo, a few of these Chicago guys, they go over to the Ack room. They get put on stage so they can speak to Ack. It starts off well. Obviously, people from Chicago are passionate. So, DJ L goes from a place of, we just want to speak to you, to yelling, that's why you a bitch, you bitch ass nigga, this, and that. There's people who are in the room who are Axe friends, so they're kicking him off stage. They're muting him. He's going back on stage. So it got really tense in there. DJ Oreo seemed to be the guy who kind of, kept his kind of kept it cool and level headed. So, that's kicked off probably a 2 or 3 hour convo with academics on accountability that they felt that he should take for his role played in some of the Chicago beef. 21 Savage was the moderator, so he was kind of, trying to make sure that everybody got their comments out when they needed to. But from there, it just turned into a whole, academics versus the industry. Meek Mill had joined in, and somebody recorded this, so the whole conversation is on YouTube. But Meek Mill had joined the room. Meek and Ack have had problems because it's not just a Chicago issue. Once he moved away from Chicago, there's other beefs to report on. So when you report on beef, it turns into this thing where, are you perpetuating it?
You're perpetuating it.
So,
I mean,
Meek Mill,
us
he
being
joined the
from
room.
Chicago, right? You being
We
in
know,
DC,
we know, yeah.
you know how this goes, man. It's like, look,
Mm-hmm.
dude, like you behind, you a keyboard warrior. Like
Exactly. That's
you're,
what they were saying.
you're a keyboard warrior, and you're pushing beefs that are real, that are very real. You're
Mm-hmm.
perpetuating the violence and I mean, let's call it in the Black community and probably other communities as well, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, man, any real street dude or any person who's privy to that type of lifestyle or who's witnessed it or who's felt it, who's been affected by it, knows that words have power, and
Yes, sir.
words can be life or death. So
Mm-hmm.
I get it, man. I'm not surprised a guy like me and some of these guys you mentioned in 21 Savage are involved, because it's like, man, bro, like you don't even know what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Now 21, he was kind of stepping up for Ack because I guess 21 had done an extensive interview with him. So they had spent some time together. So he kept saying, Ack is a good dude. He says what's on his mind. This is his job. But he was also, saying like, he was telling Ack like, this is why people don't rock with you. This is why, you got to be a little bit more sensitive at this. And 21 actually told Meek and other rappers in there, he said, we can be upset at Ack, but we are also the ones posting this content. A lot of times Ack, he's not going to just make something up or create the content. He's really looking, he has a whole team looking at people's social media. So if you post something salacious on your, story on Instagram, if there's a picture with you holding a gun, if there's a picture, all of that is getting reposted on his page to say, look, this is what such and such is doing, this is what this is doing. Does he have positive stories? Sure, but we know that's not really what drives clicks. So a lot of his content is reposting stuff that Meek was in there upset saying, you posted a picture of me at a video shoot and somebody had a gun. I was on probation, and then you posting that and knowing I was on probation, you can get me caught up. Now, the next rebuttal in the room was, well, you posted that picture. So if you know that you're in probation and you know that there's a gun in there, why are you posting that content?
You got some kind of responsibility.
Yeah, so
accountability.
It went on for 3 hours, but that's the type of thing, man. Clubhouse kind of puts these industry figures on a level playing field as everybody else, and everybody's got questions. So, that's kind of
it's a powerful platform.
Yeah, that's the content that the platform kind of cultivates. So, Ack thought he could just slide in and have some fun talking to some people and shooting the shit. But, people saw him and they showed up and they said, you got to answer for these things. Now, at the end of the 3 hours, Meek said, I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm glad I could say this. I'm glad we came to an understanding. Meek said, Ack said he was glad he can come to an understanding and explain some things. So hopefully Ack starts to move with a little caution in the future. But he also agreed to donate to some Chicago funds. So, let's see if he actually does donate. But from what I heard last night, it seemed that everybody got their grievances out directly to the man's face, and he can speak back to them, and he can kind of start to take some accountability and start to move and repent or pay for any damage that he's caused. So yeah, man, it was a eventful night. And as I said on Twitter, I said this is all Ashanti's fault. I stand by that. Because she was scheduled to have a versus last night against Keisha Cole, and last minute she said she caught COVID. So they were trying to figure out ways to do it. When versus really started popping off at the beginning of this year, versus started as something just like you and me are doing. We're in our respective places, but we're being connected by the internet. Right. So if you and me were both artists, we'd be playing our music, over IG Live. So at first I was thinking maybe they can do that, but they just ended up canceling it and, postponing it for whenever she gets better. But, the obvious joke was, for a while, people like Joe Budden and a few other people, it was 50-50, but, some of the louder noises and louder voices in the culture were saying that Keisha had Ashanti, or she had the edge on Ashanti, where Ashanti had hits, but they felt like Keisha had a stronger catalog. So to me, I got mixed feelings. I was going with Ashanti.
Yeah, I'm saying I got mixed feelings about that.
But, she got I only say all that because the joke was that does she have COVID or was she calling out sick? So
right.
It was one of those things where I said, hey, now that void was left and people were just sitting at home bored, it was the perfect storm to just go at academics because everyone was just sitting around with nothing else to do.
Right.
What were your thoughts on this versus that didn't happen?
I agree with you, man. I was leaning Ashanti's way because a lot of people
Yeah.
forget, man. Like she got a catalog with Murder Inc. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I don't know
Yes,
if their
sir.
music is tied up because of contracts or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, sure. I mean, Ashanti and Ja Rule for that fact. I mean,
Hits.
they,
Hits.
they were heavy.
Hits.
They were heavy in the
Yes.
industry for a while.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yes.
Keisha got some heat, I'm sure. But I think that Ashanti's catalog might be a little longer. You know,
Yeah.
I
I
think it
think
might
people
be a little
forget,
longer.
man.
Yeah.
People forget. And Keisha Cole, her career kind of popped off after Ashanti. I don't think they were
Exactly.
making music during at the same time. So
Right.
there could be a little recency bias there.
I mean,
I remember Keisha's
that's
music, but come on.
right, exactly. And Ashanti was actually just on a song with the baby, wasn't he?
Yeah,
She was
yeah,
just
yeah.
featured with
So
the
she's
baby.
still out here.
So
She
it's
could
like,
play that if she wants.
where Keisha, hey, where
That's
Keisha
fair
at?
game.
Where
That's fair
Keisha
game.
at?
Yeah,
Where she at?
yeah.
So I mean, not to be whatever, but call a spade a spade. But I'm happy we kind of got into this conversation because man, hip hop
Oh yeah,
undefeated.
they did announce. My bad. I was gonna say they did announce a new verses just
Yeah,
a few minutes ago. So
yeah.
hot off the press, breaking news. Bam, 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 bam. We got E40 versus Too Short, two Bay Area legends.
You feel me? You feel me?
So yeah, man, they had to come back, and they
Yeah,
couldn't just
for
leave us
sure.
hanging on a canceled to be announced verses. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
we had
high
Short
versus battle.
Dog and
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 40
40
water.
Water.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
Real
Short
ones know
dog,
those names.
short
Real
dog
ones
and
know
40
the
water.
nicknames.
You
Come
feel me?
on, cuz.
Come on,
Tell me when
man.
to go.
Hey, nigga,
His face.
give me six.
Some hyphy music. Now
You
this is a tough matchup, bro, because they're
it's
both
tough. It's tough.
legends. You can't necessarily sit there and say one has a longer catalog than the other because
No,
E40 he's got music for days. Too
or-
Short, he's got music for days. Like they both got, deep catalogs. They both have multiple classics, like classics.
this is facts. Strong facts.
So
Yeah, yeah. I'm
I
looking
can't
forward
I
to this
can't
one.
call it, man. I can't call it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
like
And I know some people listening to this, you don't even know who Too Short and E40 is. But
do your due diligence. Get on your streaming platforms and brush up. You
that's
got
right.
you got like 2 weeks before the show. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get your
yeah,
mind
man.
right, get your knowledge up real quick.
Come
Because this is
on, come
it's,
on,
it's gonna be
guys.
an epic one. It's gonna be an
Shout
epic.
out the Bay Area.
Yeah, shout out to the Bay. And since we're talking about verses, I was gonna go another direction, but man,
Yeah.
verses. I told you I read that article saying that what's his name? Pookie Loke.
Pookie
His,
Loke.
yeah,
Rest in peace, Pookie Loke.
his son was and if you guys don't know who that is, if you haven't seen it, Gucci Mane and Jeezy's did a verses not too long ago, and
Hmm.
obviously, if you're a hip hop fan or if you're in the
You know
know in the
about their
culture,
15-year beef.
yeah, yeah, they've been beefing for a long time. Gucci and Jeezy did not like each other. I mean, I guess they're on that grown man now. I respect that.
Yeah.
What Jeezy was saying, but
Hmm.
Gucci and Jeezy did not like each other for a long time, and there were allegations.
Not at all.
There were
Yes, sir.
allegations that one of Jeezy's guys tried to kill Gucci, but then he got
So
killed.
Pookie Loke, yeah. So Pookie Loke was an artist signed to Young Jeezy.
Hmm.
Um, the allegations were that under Jeezy's direction, that Pookie Loke. I mean, Jeezy did have a song where he said, "Go, bring me Gucci's chain." He put a $10,000 bounty on Gucci's chain, but those are just rap lyrics. The allegations are that Jeezy's actual artist took those rap lyrics as actual orders, went to go retrieve that chain. Now
Hmm.
he busted into Jeezy's place with,
Gucci,
guns,
Gucci.
and Gucci stood his ground, and he did shoot Pookie Loke in self-defense. And ever since then, he has named Pookie Loke in multiple diss tracks against Jeezy, basically saying, I put your partner in the dirt. He had said those same lines to Jeezy during the verses. And I guess what you're telling me is that the aftermath of that verses and bringing all of that history back up has put Pookie Loke's son in danger. So
Yeah,
now people have been sending death threats to Pookie Loke's son.
exactly. Yeah, that's what the article said. Um, and this is just another example, man, of the perpetual, how words have meaning, right?
Yep, just like we were talking about with that.
Exactly. More words have meaning, man, and just bringing that up, especially right now in a time of economic strife, right? People are out of work. COVID has everybody locked down and kind of going a little bit more crazy. Man, people do
Hmm.
crazy things, right? They start feeling some kind of way about some old stuff that might have happened. So he said
They
he's
reopened some wounds.
exactly. So he said,
And we know fans, man. Fans sometimes take things,
yeah,
to another level. And I say fans because I don't necessarily want to say it's somebody from Gucci's camp or it's somebody because a lot of people, I guess, were affected by this beef. A lot of people grew up on both artists, and if you are in the city of Atlanta, you might have taken it more seriously than anybody else. Other people might look at it as a music beef or an Atlanta beef, something that's going on there. But we forget that outside of just your rap entourage, both artists have families. Both artists are integral parts of the community. So, they employ people. And when
exactly,
people are connected to you in some way, they might not be right up under you, but it could be, you're somebody's cousin and they know it, right? And people, could say something to you in passing and now you feel like you got to do something. So, we don't know who's sending these threats, but when you reopen these wounds, you're kind of not just reopening wounds for you and the other person, but it's your whole team. It's people who are connected to your team. It's your family, people who are connected to your family.
right.
So, a lot of people feel that they have to step up and do something drastic for honor to protect your name. So that's what seems like is going on right now. Somebody is taunting Pookie Loke's son for what? That's not his beef.
Right.
He wasn't involved in that. So that's
Exactly.
a terrible thing.
It's a
I kind
terrible
of hate to
thing,
see
man.
that.
And that's one of the things that the culture has to realize too is the power
Hmm.
that you have when you have a platform, right? You can
Because a
affect
lot of
people.
times with beef, a lot of times with rap beef, it's not even the two artists that end up coming to blows.
Exactly.
It's people on their teams. It's their entourage, stuff that spills over. You know,
Exactly.
um,
And we can
it
go down
happens all
we
the
can go down
time.
a long list, man. Biggie, Pac. I mean,
Yes, sir.
who
Yes,
else?
sir.
I
I
mean,
mean, even 50 Cent in the game, there was a death that occurred in that beef. It obviously wasn't one of them, and it was somebody who was a friend of one of them who was unknown to the public.
exactly.
So just people who aren't even on stage and in the limelight are put in danger when these beefs are made public and people want to act upon them and send a message any way they feel that they can. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
And man, on that note, hip hop under siege.
Hip
Uh,
hop is under fire right now.
yeah.
Let's start with the most recent, Lil Wayne. I guess he got caught with a gold-plated gun on a private jet, and right now he's facing 10 years.
This isn't his first
Um,
time, is it? I think it
it's
might be.
not his first time because he had got caught with a unlicensed gun in New York a few years back, and he actually spent a year at Rikers for that.
Yeah.
So you got to think of somebody like Lil Wayne who, you know, you gotta remember, he's portrayed as this gangster, right? He's a member of the Blood gang. He reps the Bloods, right? But we also have to remember Lil Wayne is somebody who's been rapping professionally since he was like 13 years old.
Exactly.
We don't look at him like Little Bow Wow.
Right.
If Little Bow Wow was walking around here with guns, we'd probably be like, what are you doing? But we don't look at Wayne as Little Bow Wow, but we forget that, he really has been a child star. He really has been in this entertainment industry since 13 and actually even probably before that. So he's been seeing money and even making money for, the majority of his life. And so, when I think of it, it's like, how do you have time to join the gang when you're an entertainer? How do you have time to get yourself entrenched? You can look at other rappers who might have come up from that world and say, okay, maybe that's their past bringing them back. maybe that's just where they are mentally and they can't, break out of that, even though they have some success. But for someone like Lil Wayne, it's a sad situation because you look at him like, don't you have the money to have security? If you want a gun around you, can't you have security with licensed weapons? Why are you carrying the weapon? You know, you've been on tour buses and been in dressing rooms for, the majority of your life, like I said, since 13. So where do you find the time to get wrapped up in such activities? But I don't know his life. I can't speak on it like that. It's a sad situation.
Hey man, you know what? I don't have a thing to say about this. I mean, you said it all, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Um, I
Hey
don't
man,
understand it. I mean,
so just
it's chess, not checkers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
you
don't.
said it. You said it.
You
Think
gotta make
smarter.
you gotta think smarter. And make the right moves. I don't get it. But I
Hmm.
mean,
It's rough, man, because we saw Lil Wayne stand up, take a picture with President Trump, and he endorsed him,
mhm.
and now he's got this. So a lot of people made jokes like it was a little too late. He's trying to get a pardon, but what you gonna do now? Cuz
Shout
10
out to
years, bro. That's tough. I hope he doesn't catch it.
nah, shout out to Weezy, man. I hope he beats the case. But I mean, man, you
Shout out
gotta.
to Lil Wayne. Like we said, moving forward, hip hop is under fire. So the next person who's being looked at is Herbo from Chicago, hometown hero.
Yeah.
Somebody who's really been doing right by his city. He's not necessarily a drill artist, even though he came up in that era. I think he's a little bit more lyrical, and his topics are more varied than your normal drill tracks. But somebody like him who's come up from the hardest areas of Chicago, make it out on the music, reality rap, and he was giving back to his community by starting charities for PTSD, to teach children about that, to offer therapy to people who otherwise couldn't afford it. But right now he's being accused of fraud. One of Chicago's most one of Chicago's oldest scams, one of Chicago's oldest you know licks, professions, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, man, I mean, if I don't have to tell you, if you've grown up in Chicago, that card cracking is something that people get into. Find your PIN number, get your card, crack it, pull the scams, get the ATM money.
Yeah.
So that's what the feds have been saying that Herbo has been wrapped up in. They say he had fake IDs to
Yeah.
withdraw money from separate accounts, to use that money to pay for private jets, to pay for luxurious vacations, Jamaican villas, luxury designer puppies. What's crazy is that the star witness in his case is his ex-girl, Ari Fletcher, who is now going out with Moneybag Yo.
Mm.
um you know Herbo is engaged to a new woman. She is also pregnant. So his life is on the up and up. But at that same token, over the years, Ari has proved to be one of those exes who is just unbearable. She can't let go. So, she says she's not going to snitch. She's, been subpoenaed. But the optics don't look right. She recently dissed this man on Twitter. So, a lot of fans are looking like, this is a messy situation. One, if you really did it, Herbo, why? Just like Lil Wayne, you're already at a level where you can, make your money work for you. You can invest, you can do a lot of different things outside of cracking cards, fraud, or scam.
Mhm.
But on the other token, it's like, look at this woman who had a relationship with Herb, and she should be moved on at this point. Hopefully it's not a vindictive thing with her working with the feds, but
Hey, it's sticky. You hate to see it. Shout out G Herbo. If you
Yeah.
haven't, if you haven't listened to PTSD, check that out. It's a good
Yes,
track.
sir.
Good,
Great album. Great
album,
album.
great album.
Moving
Herbo.
on.
Uh,
Casanova. Hold
yeah.
on. What were you gonna say about Herbo? I know you had some.
No. I was just gonna say he pleaded not guilty, and if he is
Yeah, yeah.
convicted, it'll be up 6 years is what he's looking at right
Sheesh.
now, which is crazy because, like you said, he's got a new baby coming on the way. He got a kid.
Yeah.
So, man, he's one of Chicago's young pioneers currently. So, shout out to the East Side. Shout out to Herbo.
Mm-hmm.
Them cats. Yeah,
Yes,
moving
sir.
on.
Yeah,
Casanova.
Casanova, like it's a lot of people getting hit right now. So Casanova is right now facing a Rico charge.
Rico.
Um, they're saying that the gang, I think it's something Guerrilla Nation, but the gang that he was involved in New York, they're saying that whole gang has been involved in selling cocaine, crack, pills, marijuana, just drugs. But also
All the
they're linking
drugs.
his yes, whole lot of drugs.
A
They're
lot
also
of
linking
drugs.
they're also linking his gang to murder of a 15-year-old.
Mm,
Now, if you don't know how RICO charges are, 6ix9ine got caught up on a RICO charge
yeah.
last year with Treyway,
Mm-hmm.
and he famously snitched and got out. You know, during that situation, he had beefed with Casanova. They had asked Casanova, "What would you do in this situation?" Casanova was like, "Any millionaire would snitch." So a lot of people are like, is he going to cooperate now that he's in this situation?
Right.
Um, aside from that fact, real quick, if you don't know what a RICO is, basically, you can get charged just for association. So if you're around people and, if the feds feel that you knowingly know that illegal activity is going on and, you're not removing yourself, you might not be physically committing these crimes, but if they feel that your money is in any way funding this operation, or if you're giving people tips and tricks to not get caught, get out of the way, if you're an advisor, if you're an associate of any form or capacity, you do not have to be directly involved. You can still be brought up on a RICO charge, which charges every associate with the same charge.
Absolutely. And if they designate you as the ringleader or the boss,
Mm-hmm.
any charge that anybody involved with it gets hit with, you get hit with.
Yes,
So,
sir.
some of the biggest gangsters out here, that's how they got them. They got them on RICO charges, locked up forever, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Man, you hate to hear this because I mean that's intense. That means when the feds come and get you for a RICO, that means that they have probably years of that.
The feds say they've been looking at him and his crew for like 9 years.
Right.
And it sucks because Casanova is somebody who's been seen at Jay-Z's Rock Nation brunch. I'm pretty
Exactly.
sure he was also signed to Rock Nation. So, to see where he's come from, to see where he was at, like you're definitely elevating in life. It's just another thing that we keep saying, like, you're at this level. Why? I'm sure you're in a whole nother level of life. You can have better opportunities to network than the average man. You have more money to play with, to invest with. So, it might be slower money than what you're accustomed to when coming up, but at some point you gotta switch things up because more eyes are on you, especially in New York. More eyes are on you.
Yeah, and I mean for you young upcoming hip hop artists, I mean, look at the history. Look at the history, man. Once you
Mm-hmm.
break into the industry, leave that stuff alone. Leave that shit alone
Yes.
because it'll come back to
Yes.
bite you. You got the light on you now, right? People, there's no question if they
Mm-hmm.
looking. They looking. They're looking at you. They're gonna
And
ask about
yeah.
you. They're gonna look at your history. Learn from the
Yeah.
mistakes of others, man. Like once you break into that industry, anything that you think can incriminate you, you stay away from, bro. You stay away from,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you might have to cut
When
off
you
some
see
friends.
people doing dirt, get out. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
might.
Just like we were talking about with academics, DJ Vlad is another person who's under fire because the feds had named, they said that they had got some info to actually
Is that
put
Vlad
this
TV?
RICO charge from Vlad TV. Yes. So there was a Casanova interview on Vlad TV. Vlad is somebody who's just like Ack. He's going to have, you know, the salacious content, and he asks people questions like, you know, verify this in your lyrics. Have you done this? And, you know, a lot of these rappers, they just want to keep it up. So they answer the questions. They say, yes, I was there. I did this. I did that. And, you know, the feds clearly, you know, it's always been a joke, right? And Vlad has always said, no Fed has ever said they used my video. Well, they're saying it right now. They said they pulled up a Casanova interview done by Vlad, and they used some of his answers to build this case. So, you know, be smarter. Don't snitch on yourself
Come
just
on,
because you think it's cool.
come on the COD. Don't go on Vlad TV.
Exactly. We won't get you caught up. We won't get you caught up. You know, hip hop, it just continues to get a little bit worse. Zoe Dallas, he had a hit with I think DJ Khaled, but if it wasn't, it was, you know, I just wanna run to the money, run. So he was the one who has that song, right? Zoe Dallas seemed to be out of the public eye for a little bit. I haven't really heard of anything. I haven't seen him causing any trouble, so it's kind of not exciting, but it's kind of surprising to me.
Hip hop is dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Hip hop is dangerous. It's a real thing. Hip hop artists are targeted historically, and man, it's got to be smarter. We got to be smarter and one step ahead.
Yes, sir. I was just gonna wrap up this topic with you know, prayers to Fresher as well. He's I guess an underground artist or somebody who really, you know, is low key in the industry. He's had a few minor hits, but he's also been on an Eminem song. But Fresher, he was, I guess, waiting to film some type of food related content in New Jersey where he's from. He said he was waiting for his camera guy in Newark, New Jersey, and he was just waiting outside for 40 minutes of this establishment where he was going to shoot. You know, obviously he said he had the Gucci belt on. He was dressed like a rapper, you know, but he's standing in Newark, New Jersey by himself for 40 minutes. If you don't know Newark, it gets real out there. So somebody robbed him, you know, they pistol whipped him and they robbed him. He didn't get shot. You know, he still has his life. But, you know, that's just a cautionary tale to, you know, move smarter. Even if you're not actively beefing with anybody, times are hard right now. So, you know, dressing like $1 million and standing in a place like Newark, you know, you look like open season. You know, you might be inviting the wrong energy to you. It shouldn't be like that, but it's one of the things where people got to move a little bit smarter. And, you know, if you're a public figure and you're a known figure, you know, people are going to assume that you got it. You look like you got it, but people are going to assume that you got it. So they're going to try to test you. And that's what happened. But, you know, he's alive. So he's safe. And, you know, let's pray that hip hop does better, because it's rough out there right now. It's really rough.
Hey, move with a purpose, man. Move a little bit smarter, y'all.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Let's wrap up this hip hop topic with some good news. Kid Cudi had dropped Man on the Moon 3.
Cuddy.
Man, bro, I've been a Cudi fan since he first dropped Day and Night. I remember being senior year in high school when I saw the song got uploaded on MySpace probably like 2 days prior. Like, it, you know, MySpace used to have that music player and his song popped up and I was like, this song is crazy. Like, who is this? I clicked on him. He was just another MySpace user. Song was uploaded like 2 days before that. So I just started following him. You know, from there, he dropped A Kid Named Cuddy in the summer. By the time I started at DePaul, freshman year, at the end of freshman year, like beginning of sophomore year, he had dropped Man on the Moon 1, classic. He's had an illustrious career since then. He's had Man on the Moon 2. But now he wrapped up that series with Man on the Moon 3. After some bumps in his career, he's lived that rock star lifestyle. There's videos of him passing out drunk on the streets. He's indulged in drugs. He had a domestic abuse run-in. He obviously been battling depression for his whole career. Famously, that's a big chunk of his music. But he's also gone to rehab. He's come out on the other side. He said he feels better. He knows how to cope with his illnesses, and to see him drop Man on the Moon 3 in a good headspace to wrap up that classic series with, the final part of that trilogy, and the sales projections have just come in. They said he's on pace to sell 175,000 copies in his first week, only being number 2 to Taylor Swift. So, yeah, man, he's definitely at a great place in his career. And it's cool to see somebody still around. He's been one of those guys to have a proprietary sound. Nobody sounds like Cuddy.
Absolutely.
He doesn't sound like anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been able to thrive out here, where a lot of people have kind of fell out of relevance. So that was a good story.
Hey, that was a great rundown of who Kid Cudi is, man. I used to get high as hell.
Yeah.
To Man on the Moon. and then what's crazy is his music. It crosses genres and it touches people. I remember when I first went to Japan. Man, I hit the club. They were playing Cudi in the club. When I was in JP. So it's like, man, having that type of reach and it's always admirable in an artist, because a lot of artists can't do that, right? And yeah, shout out to Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 3. If you haven't checked it out, you should go check it out.
Yeah.
Highly recommended. And like you said, for him to be in the headspace that he is and come out with this work of art is exciting. So and I think that we needed this in 2020. I think we needed that boost. Yeah, I'm saying, I was watching my Bears, man. The NFL's in full swing. I mean, it's been an emotional roller coaster, obviously a COVID-19 roller coaster. All of these teams trying to stay healthy, players trying to stay healthy through this pandemic. But sports, I will say, has brought a light to the darkness. But man, I also have to bring something up. NCAA, because I saw that a lot of universities they canceled their graduations and canceled their school years, right? They stopped classes, but they're still playing football. What you think about that?
The NCAA is not going to. They do not want to give up these programs. This is what brings in the money for these schools. So it's really weird for us to see that schools are shut down, right? And rightfully so. People should be staying home. So it's not necessarily that the schools are shut down, but it's just, in-person learning is shut down. So, stay home. But, these programs, I was making a parallel to the restaurant industry. When all these places are saying, no in-person dining, they get creative. They, beef up their outdoor seating capacity. So, before they might have had a little bit of seating outside, they're finding ways to extend that, or, utilize the back area or the parking lot or whatever. A lot of these places are trying to expand their dining to get the most that they can out of the customer. Now that, places are getting cold, we've seen that they're putting up tents, they're putting up bubbles for people to basically sit inside, outside. So that same thing is going on in the NCAA. When you have to shut down and you can't be in person, the first thing they're thinking about is, how do we make this money? Because, these coaches are getting paid almost NFL salaries. The students aren't getting paid, but the only way you can pay these coaches a salary that much is when you bring in way more than, so to even be to even be able to afford that type of salary. So, this is big money, and, they're going to try to find any way they can around it.
Exactly.
So whether that is frequent testing, whether, because they're still traveling, so it's not like it's a bubble.
Right.
So it's frequent traveling, but you know how students are, man. Like, you have these games, and if students can't, be in person to learn or be on campus, but they're able to go to these games, they're going to go to the games. And that's how you have things like how we were talking about last episode, or our last, solo episode, where, what was it, Notre Dame, and they ran onto the field. So,
Okay.
it's a recipe for disaster. Maybe you should just, close it and not, allow an audience. But, it's one of those things where the smart thing would be to just shut down completely everything. But, the money is going to drive them. It's too great. You can't leave that money on the table. You got to keep going. So
exactly.
These students are paying for it.
And we know any college basketball, any college football is huge, bro. Huge margins, huge revenues. Just, I mean, and man, I'm just hoping that
the students are safe, the athletes are safe.
That's right, and they forgive these student loans.
Come on, cuz.
And I'm just spurting that out there. I'm just talking about it, man, because now even the landscape of college, right? Even the landscape of college has changed, bro.
Like, hey, I heard Biden talk about forgiving student loans. Let's hold him to that, because that's something right there that could help, stimulate the economy.
Instantly.
I know a lot of people sit there and say, well, I paid student loans, so you should. But look, I've paid a good chunk of my student loans. If he could forgive the remaining, that would be great. Even if I did pay mine in full, I would still fight for that, because, I mean, look, man, it's a hard thing to come out of, have to get a job that's, entry level, and you're going to want to work your way up in a company, and you got to, not only pay rent if you're living on your own, but, if you also a car note, you got to pay your student loans too. So it's just, big bills, huge bills, where, if you didn't necessarily have that, and how the world has changed, our parents, when they got a college degree, they were able to buy a house really young, start a family really young.
And it wasn't as expensive. It wasn't as
exactly. College wasn't as expensive. College is only gotten more expensive.
Exactly.
Salaries have only been whittled down.
Mm-hmm.
Salaries aren't as high as they used to be. So, the way the world, or the working world, works, people don't stay at one company for 30 years anymore. People are moving every 2 to 3 years. So, it's harder for our generation to get stabilized. You don't see a lot of homeowners. People are still getting married out there, but like I said, owning a home is a huge part of, building your independence, and, having that home equity is a huge part of, people's financial independence. So,
yeah, man. I mean, it might save it might not save, because nothing's happened yet, but
boost the economy. It definitely helps stimulate the economy to give people that opportunity to use the money they would rather be putting into their student loans, to use that money to, invest in housing.
And they were projecting a hit to the housing. They were projecting a hit to the housing market, and that's what I'm saying. Is that it might prevent that if we had disposable income to be able to purchase.
Exactly.
Versus paying a $400 student loan payback, for education that's not paying somebody as much as they should be getting.
Yes, exactly.
It's a lot of factors.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
So I wonder what they're gonna do, man, because a lot of these classes are online now. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
MBA programs are online. You know, graduate and undergraduate. I guess I should say. So I'm wondering if they're gonna adjust because, man, a lot of unfortunately, this might a lot of colleges and universities might close because of this. You know, because people
Yeah.
they won't have to live on campus. They won't have to go on
Mm-hmm.
campus. So
Yeah.
we'll see, man. Hopefully, education changes for the better. And
Yeah, and that goes back to the vaccine. Let's hope for the best with this vaccine, and hopefully it can push us in the right direction where this disease is not a threat, or hopefully it gets eradicated.
right.
Um, and we can go back on campus and we can uh, get back to a social world.
Yeah, 2021, baby, full speed ahead. We right here,
Hey,
man.
that's a whole deep dive, man. Just getting back into the world. I know it's going to be some bumps for people. I know people have gotten used to just, kind of isolating for a while. So it's going to be a little strange when you're back into the real world and you're around so many people. I know it's gonna take some time for people to get used to that again.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
it's another conversation for another day.
Yeah, a lot of introverts were created during this. That's for sure.
you
That's
know,
for sure.
you know.
Hey, we got Christmas coming up, man. We got New Year's coming up. Speaking of 2021, you done your
Yeah.
Christmas shopping yet?
I have. I got my list ready. I'm trying to get at least 2 gifts per person. Right now, I've got 1 gift for everybody in my immediate family so far. Oh, and that's in addition to stocking stuffers.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm trying to be smart with the money, but I'm also trying to make sure that everybody gets at least 2 gifts and a stocking stuffer from me. So with COVID, you don't really want to be out and about, and that kind of eliminates last minute shopping because
Yeah.
you can't just cop something and it shows up at your door tomorrow. So you got to really plan and buy something knowing that that delivery date it's going to hit you in time for Christmas. So
No, hey, plan
so I
ahead,
definitely
y'all.
been yeah, I definitely been pushing myself to shop online and shop early
Yeah.
and make sure things come in, man. How about you? I heard you texted me that you were wrapping gifts before we hopped on. you
Hey
know
man, yeah, yeah. I did the exact same thing you did. I got some stocking
yeah.
stuffers. I had some family members who are like, man, nah, don't even worry about it, nothing this year. But I'm not trying to
Hmm.
hear that, man.
Yeah.
Santa, hey,
Still send some
hey man,
cheer, some
hey,
holiday
hey,
cheer.
hey.
Everybody needs it.
Santa Claus Paul is coming. You feel me?
Hey,
I'm
Santa
dropping them
Paul
off.
coming to town.
Xmas, Xmas. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
Xmas.
cuz.
I'm coming to town,
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir.
I'm dropping in and dropping gifts, bro. Just just to
Yes,
brighten up
sir.
somebody's day, let them know that you're thinking about them. I think that's the most
Hmm.
important thing. I don't even think it's
That'd
about
be
the
great.
gift. It's not even about the
Yeah.
gift. It could be socks. It could
Hmm.
be a T-shirt. It don't matter, man.
Yes, sir.
Just a little something to uplift.
COD podcast T-shirts coming soon.
You hear me? You hear me? Fresh
Heard it
catch
here
of the
first.
day. We
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
hey, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Thing
Come
in
on, come
development.
on, come on, come on. All
Talk
right, all
about it.
right. So we're,
Talk
you
about
know,
it.
we're coming up to this Christmas season. You know, we both want to continue that tradition of providing gifts, not just for the material or the monetary, but just to brighten up somebody's day and make the day special, especially during this year. Let people know that you're thinking of them. um, so however you and your family celebrate Christmas, we at the COD would like to wish you a Merry Christmas, wish you a happy holiday season, whatever you celebrate. But we're also coming up on that new year,
Yeah, right.
and this is COVID, so it changes things a little bit. I don't think I really have any plans other than maybe just chilling at the crib. How about you? What you got going on for this 2021?
Same thing, man. I'm gonna be chilling with the family, but
Cool.
I am gonna put some thought into, and obviously we'll drop a couple episodes for the holidays, and
Hey.
with
Yeah,
and
we
but I
won't leave you hanging.
yeah, we ain't gonna leave you hanging, but and I challenge everybody, man, come up with your New Year's resolutions now,
Yeah,
man. Think of something that can
be
help that.
thankful, man,
Yeah, yeah.
because 2020 showed us that it could all be gone in an instant.
it can all go wrong, man. Me personally, I've taken some losses, family members, friends.
Yeah.
It's really real out here, so you really have to
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the time that you have with people. You have to appreciate the blessings that's been bestowed upon you, and don't take anything for granted. So just think about something that you can be better at, or something you want to work to be better at, and
Yes,
something
sir.
and something new that you can learn. I mean, this is a time of discovery as well.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately and fortunately, the economic climate has forced people to challenge themselves and learn something new in order to survive. So it's like,
Hey,
why
it's
not
a
reinvent
fact.
you? Hey, why not reinvent yourself and learn something new early? So yeah, I challenge
Mm-hmm.
everybody out there, man. Start thinking about that now. And but we'll get back to that on that episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, episode 23.
It's the COD.
You know what it is.
Peace.
Peace.